hearing like go get Jacoby Brissett, and people are throwing Cousins' names out or Kirk Cousins' name out. I don't think any of that's happening.
I think that Jacoby Brissett could be a realistic option for the Browns to explore. I don't think,
for sure.
I think Kirk Cousins is worth a phone call, but I don't think anything will ever come of that. He's not waiving his no trade clause to come to a team that can't give him an extension.
Correct. He already
and we
said
can't afford that.
He already said he's not going to waive his no trade clause anyways,
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't do it. He already said he doesn't want to play like the moving around the country game with his family.
Yeah,
he's got young
pretty
kids.
settled in quarterback.
You know what I mean? So he already said he doesn't want to do that. So he's not going to waive it to come here to play, 10 games or whatever. Also, we don't want him to play 10 games because I don't think Deshaun's injury, I don't believe, is season ending.
I couldn't even tell you anymore.
The problem with his injury is
Who
we
knows?
have no details except for now it's it's micro tears in the rotator cuff.
And he's starting.
Okay,
he's starting against Seattle.
So call me crazy, but I don't care that we don't have details.
I know.
I'm just saying it makes it hard for us to speculate on any kind of timeline because what I saw on Sunday is this dude can't throw a football.
No.
So is 7 days going to completely change that? He's
So
so far from being ready to throw football, in my opinion.
Do you think it's health or do you think it's rust again? Because I can't figure out. He gets looking okay, and then it's almost like back to the Texans game where it's just like
that's true. The ball's in the dirt.
The throwing motion looks terrible, and I don't know if it's just because the pressure is right there on him. But yesterday I was like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't going to be what we need to win.
The collective Cleveland sigh.
What were you saying? He was like kind of shot putting it or alligator?
Yeah, alligator arm in it.
I the first throw to Jerome Ford on the check down, I was like,
oh boy.
Yeah. Like that's not good.
No,
like
he doesn't have it.
He was this. Like this is all he was doing. Like he was throwing darts instead of throwing a football. But they said he looked fine.
Who said that?
The team.
The coaches, the team. Deshaun himself said no. He told a DT or whatever her name is pregame, no limitations on anything I can do. I can throw the ball, no problem.
Well, I mean,
so if that's the case, then that's just him being bad. And then if that's just him being bad,
we're in bad shape.
We're effed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very yes.
And I don't want to panic. We've defended the signing, and I would. Even say he is bad, I still would defend the signing because I would rather my team try to go do something than just be okay with mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but man, like he has looked really freaking bad more than he's looked even serviceable.
There's some red flags.
Carrie in the chat said, I was hearing from different places, a micro tear that you need like 4 months rest or surgery. I was talking to a physical therapist who she's dealt with a ton of rotator cuff injuries, very similar to what they're saying Deshaun has. And she said from her experience, I mean, everybody's different, obviously, in recovery, but she said most athletes with proper rehabbing with their trainers and stuff, 1 to 2 weeks, and they're usually back to playing full strength. I'm like, well, it's been like a month almost now. So was the initial injury worse than what we've been told? I don't know.
Or how much are you getting worried that we were wrong and this dude can't play and all of a sudden he realizes he can't play and he's like, just get me out of here.
I'm a little worried. What's the chat? Because I did post a poll here. Let's see.
I think it's going to be a lot of
the chat is 44% max panic level reach, 50% semi-worried, and only 6% not worried. So everybody, for the most part, has some concern.
I will say I'm slightly worried.
That's fair.
Because until I see him
slightly worried for sure.
Until there's a stretch of games, I can't. There's just no way to evaluate him right now. There's absolutely no way. But they need to officially declare him yes, I am healthy. That way we can judge him just like we judged Baker last year. He said, I am healthy, so I judged him as he was healthy. Okay? So he did that to himself.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he comes out and says, I can throw the ball, I am healthy, I am fine, then I want him to play. I want to see a solid month of football out of the guy, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, so we can truly evaluate what we have.
Yeah.
And it's got to look a whole hell of a lot better than it's looked for 99% of his time.
We talked about this on the Discord episode earlier. My biggest concern right now comes from the fact that he's been a Cleveland Brown for 23 games, and he's only played in 9 of them. And he's only looked really good for 6 quarters.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's very fair.
That is what worries me. So it goes right to your point.
If you cut out, like, take a look at the whole Stefanski era with quarterbacks, and if you take out numbers, color, whatever, hair that makes you different than others, you take out all the quarterbacks except for Jacoby Brissett, nobody can run this offense. Like, they all look the same. Bad throws, can't get the ball on time. Like, it seems like it's all the same thing. And it seems like Deshaun Watson's falling in that pattern right now. You know what I mean? And I don't see where he's going. I know the feel from Browns fans at the game. They're sick of seeing the guy. They're sick of hearing about the $250 million. They're sick of the same output every single week. They don't want to deal with it. Like, people weren't cheering when he got injured. They were cheering because they don't have to see this guy anymore. Like, some people want to see PJ Walker more than they want to see him. And it's like a dislike thing, or they're just sick of it, you know?
It's just a terrible roller coaster ride right now. Like, when it's up, it's, man, Tennessee game. Whoa, holy crap, there it is. Hey, things are coming together. But then I just feel like he can't stay on the field, or whether it's suspension or injury or whatever's going on, we just can't get enough sample size to go, is this our guy? And the crazy thing is, we're locked in. This is our guy.
It's such a hot topic issue. Like, we're driving from Indy to here. We're listening to Indianapolis football. And you know what they're talking about? Deshaun Watson. How are the Browns treating this injury? What's going on in Cleveland? They just lost a game. They're like 3-4 now. They're not talking about any of that. They're talking about us. And I was like, oh, this is too much. Like, you know.
Here, what Max C says, wonder who's making him look that bad. Well, you guys all want Jacoby back. Whose offense did he play in last year?
And he looked pretty good, right?
Yeah, like that nobody has ever looked this bad in Kevin's offense. Even like not healthy Baker was better than this.
So I've heard this from some other people. Do you think that Deshaun looks bad in Stefanski's offense because it's much more structured than what he had in Houston? Because under Bill O'Brien down there, it was almost like LeBron. It was almost like Deshaun was playing LeBron ball, where it was just hero ball, go out there and do your thing, make a play here and there. Where in Stefanski's offense, it's timing, rhythm, executing, all that kind of stuff.
You would think a great football player could adjust to that, but I'm not going to blame Kevin right now. I just can't do that. Deshaun, I was super excited when we made that trade, and I am still predicting that he gets better. And I say better, I mean better at playing football. Mm-hmm. But he hasn't played well. I just don't want to blame that on the coach.
I didn't say that nobody but Brissett has looked good in this offense. I said Brissett looked good in this offense. I didn't say he was the only one. Baker looked good in Kevin's first year with him also. Okay, so that's why I'm saying you can't blame the offense. You can't blame the scheme all for Deshaun's poor play when we've had lesser quality quarterbacks look a million times better in this scheme.
PJ Walker's won the only 2 games he's played.
And I was just going to talk about PJ. Like, PJ Walker actually, I don't want to phrase this, like, he looks good in this offense. Like, he can run the offense, he just can't execute it. You know what I mean? Like, he's making the throws, they're just late, or they're missing guys, or he's not seeing guys. But I mean, it's there. He just isn't able to do it.
The problem for me is, like, for now that we're this far into the season, this is a very good defense that can take us pretty far places. Yeah. This is a team that's pretty nice. I'm not confident at all that PJ Walker can take us to the places that we want to go. And honestly, the way Deshaun has played up and down, I'm not sure that he can take us to the places we want to go, but that's where we're at. I mean, there's no really other options. DTR sure as hell isn't going to take us to where we want to go.
I think you can, I think like if Deshaun doesn't play against Seattle, that's probably a loss. And then if he doesn't play against Arizona, I think we can win that game with PJ. Okay. But then like after that, Deshaun's got to be back. Mm-hmm. He's got to be back. And if the injury, like you said, if the injury is what they said it is, which from Deshaun's mouth, that's what he said it was.
Right.
Okay. Then by the time we get to the Cardinals, that's what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? Like, he should be fine. And if he's not, then I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but something else is going on.
And that's where, like, the messaging, does anybody else just feel like it's weird? I don't know how else to explain it. It just feels weird. It does feel
the weirdest thing, it started feeling weird when they put him in and then they took him right back out. And then they're like, oh, we just don't want him to get hurt. Well, why was he out there then?
When they said he passed the concussion test.
There they go with he was cleared. Again, why did they say that the first time, though? It's just, did he slip up? What's going on?
Cleveland should have kept Dobbs. I 100% agree with that.
He's doing okay.
I still agree with that. I will proudly agree with that statement.
If you stay off the internet and off of X, it's not as like big of a shitstorm as you think. It's just there's so many, like you just can't get on there. Everybody's got a conspiracy theory. Everybody's saying something dumb. It's like, I don't mind that nobody outside of the Browns organization knows what's going on. I want that in-house. Keep your stuff in-house. I don't want every reporter to just be able to leak every single thing about the Browns. We've had that before, and it's a dumpster fire. Yeah. Like, let the media circus happen around you as long as your house is in order. And from what in the house, you don't hear anything coming out about like problems or not being on the same page or anything like that. So to be like, we might be frustrated because we don't 100% know what's going on. But if I'm the Browns, I don't really give a shit about me. Like, who am I? I don't deserve an explanation about somebody's injury or anything like that. They don't owe me that. They don't owe me anything. They owe it to their guys to do what's best for the team inside the locker room.
Right. Which then leads everybody outside to go, okay, so what they're telling us is he's injured. Oh, wait, no, he's fine to play. And then he goes on the field and plays like garbage. So is he injured or is he garbage? And then here we are. But take away kind of that speculation stuff. Just look at the facts. Like, I've seen a lot of people saying, let's just find somebody who wants him and trade him. Let's just cut him. Guys.
No, who said that?
He's a $220 million.
Who said that?
Yeah, that's a ton of people saying that.
Just go look, dude. So he's a $220 million.
Jesus Christ.
We had guys on our show commenting to say,
go ahead.
$220 million dead cap. He's owed $19 million this year. So if it would cost us $200 million to get rid of him. We can't
That's why you don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then
so this is a situation where if he's healthy, then he's got to be out there. He's paid to be our starter. He has to be the starting quarterback. He has to be on the field. What I don't like is that we're protecting him protecting him from what you said. He was healthy. He's the starter. Put him in the game. Make him play because he's the starter. If he's hurt, tell us that and hold him out. But it's so back and forth.
I had the theory that Stefanski watched him throw 5 passes, 2 of which should have been picked. We got lucky that the one was overturned.
Yeah.
And he went, this dude's going to throw 8 picks today. And if he looks this bad for the whole game, 1, we're not winning. And 2, it is going to be a crap storm of crap storms all week if he plays an entire game like this. And he saw him go down and hit his head and land a little awkward, and he thought, I can get this guy out and just save him for a week because this is doing nobody any good. Because he clearly was not going to be good. My biggest problem too is even if the shoulder's injured, and even pre-injury, outside of really the Titans game, it's not even the throwing, which is still a concern because he just throws balls into the ground all the time for some reason. He looks lost.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how he just looks lost.
He just looks like he's never played football before. And I don't know if he's just got it in his head, like, I have to be great because I'm making all this money. And if I'm not great, everybody's going to say it was the worst move. And I can prove my innocence with my play and all this. And so I don't know if he just can't deal with it mentally. Like if he's just not mentally strong enough to deal with it. But if not, that's an issue. Let's get this guy a therapist or something because, he just, even when he's out there and he's not hurt, 99% of the time he's looked lost. He just looks like he has never played football before.
You see that in his turnover, the turnover numbers he's had since he's been the starter for the Browns. I mean, in Houston, that's what he was lauded for. He had always low interceptions, right? I mean, usually I think on a yearly basis, he didn't throw a lot of picks. It's like all he does now.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor decision making. Yesterday, I was going to say no zip on the ball. Is it injury? Is it because he's second guessing himself? Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, just tough. It's worrisome. Again, I'm not gonna 100% press the panic button on him until I get like an actual sample size of games. But to be watching him right now and to say you're 0% worried, I feel like you'd be lying to yourself a little bit.
It's fair.
We got any more voicemails you want to get to?
Well, I think we had one about Deshaun, so maybe we'll just wrap up that talk with another Fatal Gnome here.
What's up, Browns fans? It's Patreon member Fatal Gnome. And, I mean, we got a win. Finally had some calls go our way. Certainly questionable. However, I think, everybody's been talking about Watson and his throwing. It didn't look good. And I think that's because of the shoulder. It's just, we already knew that. And it was to be expected. He might have thrown good in practice. He might have thrown good pregame. But when the bullets start flying and he's really got to press the ball in there, that's when that shoulder is going to give him issues. I think he needs to go to IR. And I think we need to make a trade for a quarterback. I think Jacoby's most people's answers. He's been in the system. He played well under Stefanski. He can manage the game well. And there's, a few other names you could probably go for. You could probably look at Dalton. I don't think he's great, but I think it's better servicing than PJ Walker. Again, I think Foles or Wentz might be another option. Again, not great. I don't like that, but still better than PJ Walker. I guess, what are your thoughts?
So I got two things. I think Jacoby is obviously like the smart thing to do, and I would definitely welcome bringing him back. I would caution people, though, that if we were to pull this off, I don't know if you're going to get the same Jacoby you got last year. Last year, he had Nick Chubb. Okay? He doesn't have the strong running. He's not going to come in here and have the strong running game and stuff like that to lean on. Like, it's going to be Jacoby. You have to make some throws and stuff like that. So I would just caution. Don't think if we somehow pull off Jacoby, we're just all of a sudden offense is going to just be, in sync and perfect. And then I wanted to address a comment here. It said, where'd it go? Something about $230 million. $230 million contract will make someone look lost, or at least look as though they aren't putting 100% since the money is guaranteed. That's an ignorant argument. All these guys,
I've heard that a lot from people.
All these dudes. So where's the cutoff to complacency? Because a lot of like Lamar is making what, $200 million fully guaranteed. So you mean to tell me Lamar is only making $200 fully guaranteed, so he still has to go out there and prove himself and play an
so
MVP
$30 million is that cutoff?
Yes, like that's all these dudes are making enough guaranteed money, at least all like these top end quarterbacks, that they're never going to have to work again for the rest of their lives. Yeah, they could all quit now and be. Patrick Mahomes is making $500 million. Okay, all these big quarterbacks also have such huge endorsement deals off of the field that they could never play another down of football again, and they will be set, and their kids will be set, and their kids' will be set. So you can't, the 230 fully guaranteed, it literally means nothing. All of these guys are making an astronomical amount of guaranteed money.
Right. Like, I don't think Joe Burrow looked at those first few games for the Bengals where they were playing horrible and was like, yeah, I got a lot of guaranteed money in here. I don't really care.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Like it's a lazy argument. It's just like it's honestly, it's like what my dad would say. Like I don't want to be the guy that's like the boomers, but okay, boomer, like
I think that as Browns fans, and this is just my personal opinion, just over the years, I think we're just so desperate just to like solidify that position. Our whole lives we've waited just to have a QB1 that we knew was just going to go out there, game on the line, and it was a win. And for the most part, we haven't had that.
No.
And so I think a lot of like these comments and stuff like that, it's more of just like a frustration. I don't want to say desperation, but we went out and signed this guy for a lot of money, and everybody went, okay, we got our guy. This is the guy. That guy looked incredible in Houston. So I think that just a lot of that, like $230 million, now he's just going to relax and just not do anything. This is what Cleveland does. Obviously, that has happened. We've signed some receivers, and then they catch 13 balls, $1 million a catch. But I think that's just that's just frustration, and I get it. Like, I understand it as a fan, but this is the market right now for quarterbacks too, though. They're all making this money.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.